It is better than ever, and it's going to get better.
Yeah, totally.
That is like, we're on the cusp of being, so yes, there was shell shock, and then we came to understand, post-traumatic stress disorder, and all of that came out of combat stress, right? And then as now we're understanding, okay, what is different about something like that and what we would call a single incident trauma?
Welcome to the Better Than Ever podcast. Join me, Joseph Bailey, as we compare our current lives to the bad old days of the past, where we talk about what's better than ever. What if comparison isn't the thief of joy? What if it's the key? All right, here we go. Jennifer Smothermon. How long? Here's how I wanted to start.
Okay.
How long have we known each other?
When did you come to Hardin Simmons?
Forever.
We've known each other.
1997.
Oh, yes.
That was my first, because
So
I transferred in.
We've known each other since 1997.
Yep. Forever
Yep.
and ever.
And then we knew each other really well starting in 1998.
Yes, that's right.
At the house on
the
Ambler.
Associate roommates. That's right.
Yes.
Have you gone by there?
No, but I heard they were tearing it down.
I know they're going to. You need to go in. I've gone to it twice, and it's just open.
I want the back steps. That's where Kevin and I fell in love. I want him to dig out.
They're probably 5 tons. You could get them. You just go get them.
He said he won't.
Kevin won't?
No. But I'm like, wouldn't that be awesome to have the steps?
Where would you put them?
I don't know. In the backyard.
Just
it's
somewhere.
Where you spent, hours standing there,
Yep.
lingering
Yep.
and talking
Yep.
and not leaving and keep talking and all the stories that happen on the steps.
On the steps right there. Yep. That's
You
exactly right. Yep. And that scary carport.
I know.
Yep. That's exactly right.
So we've known each other, I think, since 97
Yeah.
and then became better friends in 98.
Yep.
And then just
I know.
Since
and then
then.
we moved away, but we came back, and then
Yep.
we're
And here
still
we
hanging
are.
out. Yep, still hanging out. Okay, so what's better than ever, or the better than ever podcast? Here's what I want to talk about. What's your story? How'd you get here? I don't even know if we've ever actually talked about this, which I'm excited about.
How did I get to
Yeah,
HSU?
so tell me about your growing up and your
Oh,
parents and all of that stuff. As much as you want to say, I don't know.
Yeah, as
No?
much as I want to say publicly.
Yes, that's right.
It's
To
not
my
a private story.
billions of listeners.
To the billions of listeners
That's right.
that will be on
That's right.
listening
Of
to this
course.
show. They're going to be going back to the early episodes
Yes,
and listening
that's
to
right.
the entire thing.
That's right.
So
Dozens and dozens.
yes,
Yeah.
and hundreds and thousands.
Yes. There you go.
So my parents were military.
Yeah.
Dad's in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So that meant we moved around a lot. So I was born in New Jersey.
Did I know this?
I don't know.
Wow.
Yep. I
Okay.
lived in New Jersey twice.
Okay.
I
That's on
lived-
your birth certificate? New Jersey.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
My perception of you just shifted.
I know. I'm a Jersey girl.
Jersey. All right.
So lived there twice, lived in Oklahoma twice,
Mhm.
lived in Alabama twice.
Yeah.
And so
Crazy.
we made a kind of a circuit, which you do as a military family, depending on what your job is.
Right. Yeah.
So he flew and we went to the bases that had his planes, except for Alabama was air command and staff. So he was a student and then he was instructor and then he was a curriculum writer.
Yeah. Very cool.
So anyway, we moved to Oklahoma and I was there until I was almost 7.
Yeah.
So loved living there
Yeah.
the first time. And my parents actually live in the house now that they built that first time that we lived there.
Really?
They built it with the idea of if we ever retire,
Yeah.
we can come back here and we will be in a house that's paid for because we've lived in all these other houses all the time.
Wait, so they kept that house the whole
Uh-huh.
time? Wow.
And rented it out.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, that's really cool.
then we moved to Alabama for a few months, 10 months.
Yeah.
That I was ready to leave.
Yeah.
That second grade was hard.
Oh,
It
yeah.
wasn't good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, my second grade teacher left us in the classroom.
So you left all your friends and then she left y'all?
No, she just like the day was hard. She
Oh,
had
yeah.
stuff going on, and so
Yeah.
she just left a bunch of 7-year-olds and walked out. And we were left there alone. So that's like my education experience there in 2nd grade.
But that's not, she didn't quit that day.
Oh no, she quit.
She quit that day.
She never came back.
You were a part of that.
Yeah.
Part of her experience.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder, is she still out there? You think
I
she's still
don't
alive?
know. I don't know. I'm not going to name names.
You're not going to name her.
No.
Mrs.
No.
What's her name?
No.
She
So
just quit.
that, you know what that year actually did for me is it gave me a huge amount of empathy for kids who have anxiety, especially related to school, because I was sick on and off all year long, and they couldn't ever figure out what was going on, and it had everything to do with the classroom.
Yeah, with how you felt about school
and everything that was going on in there. And I loved school before that and after that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
anyway, moved to New Jersey
Yep.
again, and we were there for a couple of years, and then to Alabama until junior high.
Yeah.
And the hardest move is moving between 7th and 8th grade
That'd be
to
tough.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to go. I was like, no, I'll just stay here. I'll live in a box in the backyard.
A 7th grader, you're just going to.
I'm not going.
Yes.
You know? So anyway, I went, and then of course, and the thing about it is every time I didn't want to move, I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
And then I would get where I was and I didn't want to be there. And then I made friends.
Yeah.
We built connections.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like so it always got so good
Yeah.
that I didn't want to leave there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
It's
good.
kind
It's
of
good
like
and bad,
better than
right?
ever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
right. Yeah.
So, and then I stayed in Oklahoma until I graduated from high school.
Okay.
And then came to Abilene, to HSU.
You've been in Abilene ever since?
1994. Showed up the
Yeah.
day after my 18th birthday.
Did you really?
Uh-huh.
That's
Yep.
crazy. Yeah. For
like a
orientation or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
what more of the story? Like, is that where you want me to?
No, sure. That's great. Yeah.
Yep.
So you've lived here the longest.
The longest.
Abilene.
Abilene.
You didn't even try to flee, because a lot of us
No.
tried to like leave. We tried to flee, and it like
No,
brought us
I didn't
back in.
think I would stay here.
Yeah.
I didn't even think I was going to graduate school here, but that
Oh.
all just like it all aligned.
Yeah.
Like that was all, there was no question about whether or not I was supposed to be here
Yeah.
for that process. And then
That's
I got a
cool.
job, and then of
Yeah.
course I met my husband
Yeah. And y'all spend all that time on the back steps.
on the
right?
back steps.
That's right.
Yep.
Right there. On
So-
Ambler.
Ambler. Yep.
Very
So
cool.
I've lived, the house that I live in now, I have lived in longer than any place that I ever lived.
Yeah,
growing
because y'all
up.
moved in when? In 99 or something? 2000?
Like 2001. Wow.
That's crazy. Yep.
Yep.
Still in that house.
And
Rocking
we're
that house.
Still there.
Are you gonna be there forever?
Probably. You know what I realized after I got there? A couple.
that?
Well, that's it's my loyalist. Like
Yep.
I got to
Yep.
stay there. So
Yeah.
I realized after when I walked in that house when we were looking for a house, we didn't have to move, and so we were real just like, we'll go look, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this place is home. This house is home.
You
when
just
I
knew?
walked in, I knew it.
Wow.
Well, about 2 years later, I figured out it is the exact blueprint of my parents' house
Really?
that we lived in when I was little and they live in now, except for
Interesting.
it's flip-flopped.
Flipped. Interesting.
So I was like, well, no wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That's funny.
know.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, very cool. All right. Well, so that's how you got here.
mhm.
Tell me about, so I'm always interested in people's media. Like when you're a little kid, what are you watching? What's shaping you? What's light? What's heavy? Like what are all the media things you're watching? Like shows and TV and
Mhm.
movies.
Mhm. So
Or were your parents like, they didn't let you watch TV? I don't know.
they did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they did. When I got a little bit older, I think it became more structured or more limited.
Okay.
Definitely more limited.
Yeah.
They did not come to faith until I was like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So my childhood and like my early childhood
Mhm.
and then my middle and later childhood looked very different.
If you haven't heard Nate Bargatze's new Prime, I think it's on Prime, new
Mhm.
Prime special, but he talks about his parents coming to faith
Okay.
in the late 80s. And he's like, it's when people were like the most Christian
Yes.
ever. And he said it was really hard.
Yes.
Yes,
So
really tough.
It went from, I mean, my parents were never bad. They were always good, moral people,
yeah.
but their standards, they
Yeah.
went from like, if it is anything like the world, we're not going to have anything to do with it, you know? And so that shift, you know, happened over my my elementary years. So my media input when I was little, that was going to be like, of course, PBS, Sesame Street.
Mr. Rogers. Did you watch Mr. Rogers?
I did watch Mr. Rogers. I watched him every day.
I never watched Mr. Rogers. I have no
Joseph,
recollection.
I don't know that you would have liked Mr. Rogers when you were little.
I
because
hated all of that
his
stuff.
pace is
It's so slow. It's
and
so
calming.
chill. Yep.
But as an adult and a parent, now your kids are beyond that. But if you went and looked back at that, I think that you would be able to see the value.
Yeah, like I liked. Maybe you'll judge me for this, but I like Daniel Tiger because it was like super chill. But it's an offshoot of Mr. Rogers.
It's an offshoot of I like Daniel Tiger too.
In fact, always come back.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely let my kids watch Daniel Tiger. Mrs. Tiger always frustrated me because I could never be like her. Oh. She was always co-regulating with her children and staying calm. And, you know, Daniel's blowing up and she's staying calm. And I'm like, why can't I be like her? That's right? Funny. You know, so anyway. So that's when
parents are talking about Bluey now in the same way, I guess. Like Bluey's super chill.
Yeah.
I've only seen one episode of Bluey.
Oh, Bluey's great too. Bluey's a great show too. Yes.
So I didn't watch, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Okay. I didn't watch Mr. Rogers and I didn't watch the other PBS show.
You didn't watch Sesame Street?
And one time in third grade, I was going to be stay after school and be an athlete. And they had this gymnastics program. And I was like, I want to be, I don't know what crossed my mind. I'm going to be a gymnast. I'm 6'1" and there's no way. But anyway, but at that time, I'm like, I'm going to be a gymnast. And what I discovered was that practice was after school. G.I. Joe was after school.
The Real American Hero.
A Real American Hero. I dropped out like after 3 days or something. I was like, this is stupid. This cannot interfere with Snake Eyes and Lady J. Yeah. This cannot.
Yeah. I watched them, but that was more like third and fourth grade.
Yeah.
So I'm starting like preschool media input.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You know? So there was, you know, my PBS shows that I watched every day. There was also the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. I had a car that was a Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah. Yeah. That was a big deal. I
aspired to be Daisy. You know. So we had the Dukes.
Yes.
I think Dallas or Dynasty. I think it was Dallas came on afterwards.
Did you watch Dallas?
I only could listen to the theme song, which I loved. And then we had to turn it off.
Come in here, Jennifer.
Yep.
Jennifer and Katie, you're going to listen to the theme song.
No, my sister wasn't born yet. Katie wasn't even there yet because we're 5 years apart.
Okay, that's true.
So, and then I loved the Muppets.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Henson.
Yeah.
So that was a weekly thing. And then I also, as a kid, loved watching football with my dad.
Did you really?
I think it was just, he would, you know, lay down and just be chill and I could just lay down next to him.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was like a bonding time.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I was like, I'm going to be a Dallas cheerleader.
Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. That's what you got from football.
That's what
you got. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that was early media.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I watched, there was a show that came on before G.I. Joe. Something that came, I can't remember what it was.
I don't remember.
But we watched that. And
then right around there was Transformers. There was He-Man.
Yep.
Oh, those are the best.
Yep.
Those are so good.
So all of those, you know. Mm-hmm. And then we came to, which is controversial now.
Yeah.
But in the 80s, it wasn't.
Yeah.
The Cosby Show. Family Ties.
Man, we watched The Cosby Show a ton. We watched Family Ties all the time.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
So that was like, you know, late, middle, elementary, junior high.
Alex P. Keaton.
Yep.
It was so good.
Yep.
In his suit. It was so great. Yep. It was amazing. And then Growing Pains.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So all of those kind of shows. The other thing is that my dad loved reruns.
Yeah.
Like Nick
Gunsmoke.
Some of that, I was bored of that. Like my parents loved old movies. And so
yes.
I would get bored of Westerns. They liked, John Wayne and all of that. But what his media diet, which of course then shapes ours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah.
The Munsters, Car 54, Where Are You?
Yeah. I could not take
all of those.
Yeah.
So
Andy Griffith, I loved.
We watched
and still
all of them.
love. Yeah. But all those other shows, oh
you
my gosh.
couldn't do.
My dad loved MASH so much.
Oh, my mom loved MASH. So
Did you like MASH?
I watched MASH too when I was a kid.
I don't, it was lost on me. I just didn't get it.
Again, I think it was just like my mom would actually sit down to watch MASH.
Yeah.
Because, moms are up busy. They're doing all their stuff, but she would sit down and watch it. And so I could sit there next with her. So I think as I kind of look back on that, I'm like, some of what I would watch had to do with whatever they were watching.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
So.
Okay. So were there imaginary things in shows that were shaping your real life? Like that made you think about like fear or danger or love or romance or like what was that?
Well, so the fear question. So remember what my parents had on TV when I was really little was different. So we had HBO.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I was supposed to see some of the things that I saw.
Yeah.
But Poltergeist.
Oh gosh, yeah. Scary.
Alien.
I won't watch Alien right now. Like my boys are talking about, hey, let's watch Alien. I'm like, no, I'm good.
No,
I'm
fine. I would lay in my bed at night.
Yes.
And, I'd feel my stomach rumbling.
Oh, gosh.
It's probably gas.
Yeah.
Okay. But as a kid, I believed there could be anything alive under my bed.
Yeah.
All of my stuffed animals, which were in abundance, came to life at night.
Yep.
And if I felt any movement in my stomach at all, it was probably an alien.
Yeah, totally.
Like it trying to get out. Well, I don't think my parents even knew. The alien comes out of the stomach.
No, I get that. But there was one where the toys like terrorized the kids or something.
I probably saw. I was not supposed to see that,
right,
but because it was on, I would just kind of like watch around the corner, or I'd go to friends' houses and they had older siblings, and I'd just see what they were seeing.
Yeah. In fifth grade, like we had a sleepover at my friend's house, and my parents were like, "Do not watch whatever you're not supposed to."
Whatever scary.
Yeah. But then they were playing whatever PG-13 or R-rated movie, and it was Monster Squad, and it's still, I think it was fourth or fifth grade, and it still just freaked me out. So all that stuff, totally freaked me out. And like Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, and all that stuff, super scary.
Stephen King.
There was this one on. Oh, it was like a mini series called Mask, I think, and they would peel their faces off, and they would be like these lizard people.
Oh no!
Oh, it had to have been third grade or something like that. It was terrifying. Anyway, so I don't know, why did they do that? And then my parents took me to what's the Indiana Jones and the
Temple of Doom.
The Temple of Doom. That's right.
Where they of that too. I still don't like that movie.
He grabs that guy's heart out of his chest, and it's still beating.
Yeah. No.
Apparently, they say some kids cried in that movie, and and it was me. It was you. I cried in that movie. Yeah, I don't remember what. I'm hoping I don't want to IMDb it, because what if I was like actually 12 and I thought I was 7? Yeah. And then I was like,
it's like watching Jurassic Park.
It's pretty intense.
We thought, because my sister, she was born at this point, and she had a thing for dinosaurs when she was a little kid, and so my mom's like, "Oh, dinosaur movie, let's go."
Did you go to it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a horror movie.
Terrifying.
I know, it's really scary.
I was so scared.
Yep.
So I don't do scary movies now, but definitely like in junior high, not so much in high school, but definitely like junior high, maybe freshman year.
Yeah.
If kids were watching a scary movie, and that's when Stephen King was like really big.
Yeah, totally. Cujo and
Pet Sematary.
I never saw Pet Sematary.
Oh no, we saw it like 12 times.
Oh, wow.
It was like always playing when kids got together. And so I saw all that stuff, but I hated that I saw it.
Yeah.
So, and now my standard is, if I don't want to dream about something, I'm not going to watch it.
But we have friends who love scary
I know.
movies. Yeah.
I know.
They'll
They
go
like
to
to be
it.
scared. I know.
I don't get it. I don't
Not
understand
me.
it at all.
No, I don't want scary. I don't want violence. And of course, because of what I do for a living,
Yeah, totally.
I don't really want to watch a lot of trauma
Yeah.
on
yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
Like that's not like that's real life to me. It's not entertainment,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
So
Absolutely. Yep.
anyway, I like movies that end well.
Yep.
Like they tie up with a neat little
Yeah,
bow.
that's right.
A drama, a
Yep.
good comedy.
Yep.
You know, whatever.
I have a friend who he's a pastor and he deals with lots of heavy things. And he's like, my life is life is sad enough.
Yeah.
Why would I want to introduce more sad and horrible
yeah,
things? So
yeah.
that's kind of where I am with that.
Me too.
So yeah. Anyway, okay. So tell us how, like, what's your job? What do you do? What's your specialty? What do you see?
So I'm a marriage and family therapist / professional counselor, also registered play therapist.
Okay.
So I see the whole gamut, the whole spectrum in terms of ages.
Yeah.
I'll see people. I think the youngest that I've seen was like pre-verbal, so probably like year and a half, 2 years old.
Oh wow, yeah.
But I mean, if a kid has been through trauma, what are you going to do? Play, you know? So that's what we did anyway. And then I've seen pretty elderly folks before too. So
really?
All in between.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I like that. There's a lot of people who kind of specialize in a certain age.
Yeah.
I like the variety of being able to
Yeah.
see everyone. And I guess I just do kind of general practice.
Yeah.
But I am specialized in working with kids and working with trauma and all of that sort of stuff. So we don't to be a play therapist, you have to go and do extra training and all of that for certification. And there's not a lot of us here in Abilene who do that. Yeah. So that kind of became a niche just because it was a need.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
So that's what I do.
You started seeing patients in like around 2000 or 2001 or something like that. So you've seen, especially with kids and teenagers, you've seen probably my guess is the media consumption go from like what we were talking about that's barely interactive, that's really not like all those TV shows, like it's not interactive. It's not like flat. You can control the character, you're receiving it. So you've gone from that to like super interactive, immersive, 24/7 sorts of things. So tell me about like how is it shaping people, kids and teenagers and people's lives?
So I don't have the research in front of me, so I'm just pulling off of stuff that I'm remembering that's out there. There's actually great research about how media impacts kids, but particularly how that interactive, you're right, it's that interactive piece that plays on different areas of our brain that then we see shifts in dopamine, which then is going to change how we're motivated. You know, so for example, you can get a little dopamine hit while you're sitting there playing your video game that's interactive, or you're getting the likes on your social media or whatever that feed
Everything changed when they added the like.
Yes.
Everything.
All of that shifts, but just enough to feel good and to keep you coming back to that, but not enough for you to get up and go do the things that you need to go do.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so it kind of messes with, especially teenagers, it messes with that motivation system. And then adults, it does too, you know? I think in terms of social media has good and bad things, you know?
Oh, yes.
So my teenagers actually are not on social media.
Mine are not either. Nope.
And you know, early on they were not happy. When they were younger, they weren't happy about that. We talk about it. I wasn't just like, no, you know, but we talk about all of that. Right. And now my older one is at a point where I would let her be on that now. And she's like, I don't think I want to add that in my life because I see it now.
Yeah.
You know, she sees the influence. And then I think, especially for, you know, when we were growing up, well, two things. One, if we did or said something, it wasn't memorialized in history forever.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Like I am so glad that we didn't have smartphones with cameras in the 70s, 80s, and
know.
90s.
Can you imagine? I know.
You know?
I know.
Because, I mean, we did stupid stuff, but it wasn't posted forever, you know? Also, while our frontal lobes are not even developed at that point, the stuff that we said, the stupid stuff that we said, and sometimes that we thought, recorded. Was not on there.
Right.
You know, it's not recorded forever. Yeah. But then also this idea of comparison. Yeah. You know, and I know there's a lot of people that talk about that, and even adults deal with that comparison thing. Yeah. I don't mean like better than ever kind of thing, but I mean like I'm looking at what I'm comparing my real life to somebody's photoshopped life.
No, totally. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then this idea of missing out. So like 2 of your friends might have gotten together and had a sleepover and it was totally fine. And you didn't feel like you're missing out because you didn't even know about it.
But not now, right?
Not anymore.
Not my 40-year-old friends, right?
Right. They don't no. But you know what I'm saying?
No, totally. Like, yeah, totally.
In terms of kids. Yeah. And so then there's all this, stuff about what kids see, they model, so I'm not even going to, I'll just kind of toss out there. There is research about like first person shooter games and aggression and violence and all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it definitely shapes what is going on with kids. And it's not all bad, right? So I think about also the connectivity that we have because of what we have access to. Yeah. You know, I was on the other side of the world and I still could stay connected to my kids last month.
But locally, we don't have to talk anymore because I've seen your feed and I'm just like, oh yeah. Well,
I know what's up with her.
We don't have to talk because I saw that she did this and did this and did this. Yeah. Krista looked at, I don't know if she told you this, but she was looking at somebody's feed like in the last couple of months. And they posted a picture from high school and a picture of a group of friends that she had that she was not in. And she was like, hey, I wasn't invited to that. So
see?
It's the same.
The fear of missing out.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so sometimes when whoever gets together and somebody's going to take a picture, I'm like, let's not, can we not?
Do we have to post all of that? We don't. Because it has an impact even in adult.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know? If it's not memorialized, did it even happen? Yes, it did. It did. Yeah, it totally
did happen.
Did. Yeah.
And let's memorialize it in a different way.
I'm about to sound super old, but there's this phenomenon and I don't understand it. And me and Krista were creeping on somebody's social media. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to say
was it mine?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a younger person's. It's a younger person's and they're like, I'll just say younger. They're way younger. They're at least a decade younger than me. And so we're creeping on their profile and this person is currently dating somebody and dated other people and left the photos up.
Oh.
Which is a thing. Like this is literally a thing. And so I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. So I need to have like a 20-year-old, 25 or 30-year-old on the podcast to be like, what's going on? I don't understand what's going on with that. Yeah. So anyway, but so that element of social media and comparing, like if you're not careful, if you don't navigate to comparing to something good, you'll compare it to like, oh, well, they were doing this thing and they were doing this thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's true. And then it's so many of those social media posts are like, they're fake. They're literally fake. Yeah. Like if you zoom out, like it's totally fake. They're not on their private plane. You know, they're like by this stupid little window that looks like a plane. That's not a plane at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But anyway. Again, the connectivity there.
Yeah.
What we saw during COVID and quarantine and lockdown and being able to stay in connection with people, like Zoom changed the world and those kind of platforms changed the world. And I think about like even within my practice, of course, we had to shut down and go online and we were able to keep going. I worked more during COVID than I have worked in my entire life.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
And it was accessible, you know, any other time in history that wouldn't have, we wouldn't have had that, you know?
Are people are they more likely to self-disclose over video or less?
There's different, I would say that depends on the person. Okay. There's different research about that. And I still have clients, I still run part of my practice online, doing a teletherapy practice.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because I have enough people that said, I like doing this.
Oh, really?
I would rather do this. I want to be in the safety of my home, or I have clients who live in other parts of the state, or I have, think about if you're at work and you have an office, like when you were on campus, you had an office.
Yeah, I could lock it.
You could shut your door, lock your door, and turn on your camera kind of thing. And there's a lot of people that do that now, and they're happy to do, they want to do that.
Interesting.
You know?
That's
so,
cool. Yeah,
and that's
really
a positive use of media.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
better. That's better than ever.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly right. So does, like, as you've seen from 2000 till now, like with your younger clients, they're not patients, right? They're clients. They're clients.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do they struggle with comparison? And like, how are they they're comparing their lives to these fake versions of people who don't exist.
Yeah. Or to what their friends are doing, like that they wouldn't necessarily know about if it wasn't posted socially. Yeah. Or to, and this was happening before social media, in magazines and that sort of thing. Like the images that we compare ourselves to have for a long time been fake.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And yet both men and women and kids, teenagers, they all are like, well, this is what I'm supposed to be like.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to look like, or this is what I should be attaining, or, and it's unattainable.
Right. Yeah.
And there's some struggle with that for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So, what do you struggle with how do you struggle personally with comparison? What does that look like? What is media now? Like, what's my
media diet?
Yeah. What's your media diet now? Because are you on Instagram? Just barely, right?
I'm on Instagram so that I could follow some of my cousins.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
That are they're like way younger than me, 20 something years younger than me. So that, I could still see their, not creep on them, but like see their pictures and, their posts.
Their exes.
No, what?
Many exes that they're
all of their
up.
exes. Yeah, we could probably ask them what that's about.
Yeah,
I'll have to go on there and see. So, but I don't tell anyone I'm on Instagram because I hide on there because I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to keep up with it.
How many posts do you have? None.
Not many.
No, when somebody's like at 0 or 1, I'm like, bro, come on.
No, I have some, but I just don't even, I don't have time to keep up with that. Yeah. I'm like, I can only do one platform and that's it. And
it's Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's where all the old people are.
It's true.
And why my Facebook is there in general is to have that some level of connectivity to people that I wouldn't be able to connect with.
Yeah.
Like, I lived in 3 places twice.
Yeah, that's true.
I've got friends all over the place. So
all your New Jersey friends,
all my Jersey friends.
That's right.
I do have a few New Jersey people on there. Yeah. Anyway, and then my parents and grandparents want to see it and all of that. Yeah. So I have fun looking at other people's stuff. But if you look at my posts, it's mostly like, hey, this is what your grandkids are doing.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
or tennis stuff or something like that.
Or whatever. Yeah. So it also serves like, to me, it's kind of like a yearbook.
Yeah.
And I'm sure,
totally.
I'm sure there's another form of media that I could do that with that wasn't public.
Yeah.
I don't take time to do it.
Right.
So, but one of the things I love about it is when the memories come up and then I'm like, oh, that happened that is my favorite part of Facebook.
In like a month or two ago, we changed our TVs to go through a slideshow of all of our family photos, and it literally changed one of our children. It literally changed his attitude and behavior toward the family because he saw all of those sweet family photos.
Good.
You know what I'm talking about. And he changed his behavior because of those photos.
Good.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Yeah.
His perception was shaped by what he was able to actually see in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. Like what he perceived, what he remembered was not exactly accurate.
Right.
And so that's an interesting piece about memory. and how we do that. So.
Yeah. Well, have you ever thought about, so in my book, Like a King, I wrote one chapter about remembering in photos. And have you ever thought about, I mean, if it was 100 years ago, you have like one photo.
Yeah.
You have a family photo.
Yeah.
And then in the 30s and 40s, they did this super weird thing. Krista's grandma is 103 now, and she has these old photos of, they would like, somebody dies and they take a picture of them in the coffin, because that was like their last memory
picture.
of the last mental.
I don't even like to look at the open casket.
She has
like,
some
I don't
of those.
do that.
Yeah, she has some of those. It's very strange, but yeah, and the idea that like all of those photos help us remember like how it was. The twins just turned 14, and we have this little video we posted.
I saw it.
Oh, it's so great.
I love it.
It's good for us. You know, I reposted it because I was like, oh my gosh, it's good for me to remember that like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw in the video, but I had Judah's, like, he busted his, I think it was Judah, he busted his lip, and on my shirt I have his blood. Oh my goodness. And I didn't notice that on my little phone screen. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And in their room there's the two cribs, and they're like a year old, and there's nothing on the walls. I know. Because we're just like, you were just surviving all the time. Yes. Always. But it was really sweet, you know? Yeah. And so we were like smiling, and we were happy. Dancing around, and you're loving on those kids. That's right. Like, it was a sweet video. I watched that, and I was like, that just happened. It feels like that just happened like a few years ago. I know, and now it's 14 years later. That's crazy. Yeah. So to have like the amount of pictures and videos and all of that. Yeah. How do we even keep up with all of them and store them? Yeah. Right. So I guess my social media feed is kind of like, I'm just going to pull out the ones that I want to save. Yeah, sure. You know, don't tell Kevin, because I also want to save everything that I have on our hard drives. That's funny. He's like, does he want to get rid of the computers? And he's like, and you're like, no. Oh no, he's like, why do we have to have all of these pictures? Like, you have 6 pictures of the same thing. Oh, I'm like, well, they're different angles. I need them all. We need every perfect one. All right. Yeah. All right. So what else is, before we get to what's better than ever, do you have any mindfulness practices, like thankfulness or mindfulness practices that would get you away from comparison or something like that? Yeah. That's a good question. I love that you know about mindfulness. What do you know about mindfulness? Well, I do know. Do you get these telemarketer calls all the time? Yeah. All the time. Yeah. And then I go in there to my recents and I block them. You block them. Mm-hmm. I should do that. So I sit like right here in this room every morning at 6 a.m. I wake up and I make a cup of coffee and I read a psalm, and usually it corresponds with the date, but there's like 120. So I'm at Psalm, whatever, March 31st plus, right. and we're into April, and I sit here and stretch and I pray, and that's the way I start every day. And I started that, speaking of little kids and all of that stuff, because we went from 1 kid to 3 kids really quick in 2.5 years. And so I had to get a handle on the day before the day started, because the day was coming in hot. It was coming in hot, diapers and you may or may not have had any sleep that night before. Yeah, that's true. Well, I usually did. Yeah. So, some of us didn't, but I usually one did. Of you did and one didn't. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So that's my mindfulness or thankfulness practice for sure. Yep. Yeah. So mine is, I do try to start my day in the quiet. Yeah. I love it if I wake up I don't want to wake up really early. What is early? What does that mean? 15 minutes before everybody else gets up. I know, so, but what time is 6:30, 6:45. Okay. No, it is not early, but it's early to me. But Kevin wakes up early, right? Yeah, he's awake. Okay. But he doesn't. 5s? No, about 6, but he doesn't talk. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if he's awake. He's not going to intrude on my quiet time. Yeah. So absolutely doing that. And I started, my sister gave me a prayer journal that's kind of going back to that idea of memorializing. So a 5-year journal, and it's 5 years. That's stressful to me. No, oh my gosh. It's just a few lines for every day. It's something short every day, but across those 2 pages, you're going to see like what you said on that day. Yeah. For 5 years. So you just write things you're thankful for, or what you did, anything you want to do there. Okay. So I'll try to do some gratitude there. Yeah. And
definitely some time in scripture. I really took, you introduced me to Huberman.
Yeah.
And I took his ideas about light exposure to heart.
Yeah.
And so if I can sit outside while the sun is coming up and get that 10 minutes
that's
of
right.
light
Yep,
exposure
that's
to
right.
set that circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
I used to be able to walk before it was like, I got to get kids to school, but I can't do that anymore. So anyway, there's that.
School waits for no man.
No, it's
you
like
gotta
you gotta
go.
go.
Yes, you gotta go.
Yeah. So, and then my other practice, of course, is my walking, which happens at other times of the day, but trying to spend at least a part of that time in quiet.
Yeah.
And then gratitude, not only just thinking about what you're thankful for, but sitting with it long enough to engage your senses and your imagination for whatever that thing is. And like that takes just a few minutes, and connecting your breath to it. So doing your deep breathing and activating your calming system and all of that.
Or 2 breaths in and then
a
out.
long
Like
out.
that's a Huberman thing as well. That's right.
Yep. So anyway, those are various practices that I do.
Very cool. You're in the same boat. You and Kevin are in the same boat as far as like kids' ages. And I'm in this weird transition of looking at what is a year from now? What is 2 years from now? 5 years. So all that to say that a 5-year thing would be like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. No.
Yeah. I haven't even thought about that.
Sorry.
Thanks.
I didn't. Sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up. Sorry.
No, like I just try with that. And I guess that's kind of a practice too. So, and maybe it's a coping skill. I don't know. But like if I allow myself to go forward 2 years and the life transitions that are coming at that point, that would make me so sad and and all of that. And so I try to when those kind of things come up, it's like, okay, that is going to happen, and I can allow myself to feel something about it, but then come back to present and really stay intentional in the day, in the present moment that we're in right now.
Because it's
flying. It's flying by
really quick. I used to get so like when the kids were super little, so we would have Luke is 2.5 and Judah and Mike are newborns, and we're out at the store or whatever.
And you just wait.
Oh, well, yes, you just wait. But it was the other side. It was the other side of old people, and they would have this gleam in their eye, and they're like, just enjoy every moment. And I would be like, you don't live in this. I would be like, get out of here. I mean, I would want to say, I don't want to say bad words today, but
this is a clean podcast.
I know, that's right. I know, that's exactly right. And so I would want to say go away because I was so frustrated at that comment, but it really is true. And so now, like, hopefully we have the presence of mind and the wisdom to know that we're going to pine for these days.
Yes.
Like we're going to wish for this day. And even though it's,
these are the good old days. Like we're living in them right now,
yes, I know.
So, and I think even that, it just gets better. Like think about how hard it was when they were little, especially when you had 3 little ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I was present to that.
Yep.
You know?
You were. Yep.
And then now how much easier it is when they're self-sufficient. And I think something I try to think about when I think through the future is it doesn't end. We have an opportunity to continue to be in connection with our kids. It's going to look different. Right?
Maybe. What if they just disown us?
Well, they may disown us.
They could just like run away.
But I think that what we're doing with our attachment now is going to keep that bond throughout their, with that secure attachment. And so I think about it's going to be really fun to relate to them as adults.
Yeah. Instead of the heavy.
Yeah. And be able to have these kind of like conversations that we're having right now or whatever, or go on, like think about taking them on vacation. Yeah. Think about going on vacation with adult friends and how fun that is.
It might be. I don't know. It might not be.
I'm like, that's what we have to look forward to. So
it depends who they marry.
There's that.
It depends who they marry. That's right. All right. So let's get to what's better than ever. What's for you? Like you personally, what's better than ever? We talked about gum a second ago before the podcast. Chewing gum is better than ever.
Chewing gum is better than ever.
You can eat fish
right before you come to an interview, and then pop in some mint gum, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is better than ever? There's so many things that are better than ever, Joseph. Like, narrow it down. Is something better than ever?
What about with therapy? What about with therapy with work? What's better than ever? Yeah.
What's better than ever, I think, is our understanding of our brain and what we call interpersonal neurobiology.
Okay.
So what happens with me and how that impacts what happens with you.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Like how we are communicating with each other. Also understanding like how it's not just like our brain is separated from our body.
Yeah.
But our body and our brain are all in communication. They're all in tandem with one another.
Yeah.
And then understanding the impact. I think with all of that, what does that look like with attachment, which is that's not new. They pulled from, old stuff but we have new research that makes it relevant.
So when you say attachment, do you mean attachment to other people, attachment to ourselves? What do you mean?
Attachment theory. So our attachment with others.
Okay.
Yeah. So like going back to John Bowlby, Mary Ainsworth, those folks, but being able now to talk about it and really understand it in a modern way.
Yeah.
And then our understanding, I think, of trauma. I think about, I can remember standing in front of, we used to do this. I saw a bunch of kids in the foster care system. And so we'd have to do this paperwork for their Medicaid insurance over and over and over again. Yeah. And I'm reading all of their testing reports and, working on their diagnosis and stuff. And I don't remember somewhere in my 20s thinking there's no way that statistically that every kid in the system has the same 3 diagnoses. That's not possible. Yeah. But that's what keeps coming up on their testing. Something's going on here. Something's wrong. And then probably 5-ish years later, we start getting research out there, like by Bruce Perry, by Bessel van der Kolk, some key people, Karen Purvis, key people in the field about what was actually going on with trauma and how it's impacting your whole interpersonal neurobiology.
Interesting.
And all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, it's not this, it's that. And so we have a new understanding to go, now we can actually do some things to change, the dysregulation and the trauma that they've experienced and all. So it created, that understanding created more hope in terms of the treatment that we're able to do. So
that's good. Interesting. So I always think about in World War I, I wrote some things about World War I. In World War I, there was just shell shock.
Yeah.
And they would just call this blanket statement. It was just shell shock, and guys would come home and they're just zoned out. They're just, it's shell shock. Yep. Well, now there's all different kinds of diagnosis about different sorts of things. And you and I have a friend who sees clients in the military who struggle with this and deal with this. And so, but it's really specific now. And so it's better. It's better than ever.
It is better than ever. And it's going to get better.
Yeah, totally.
That is we're on the cusp of being, so yes, there was shell shock. And then we came to understand, post-traumatic stress disorder. And all of that came out of combat stress. Right. And then as now we're understanding, okay, what is different about something like that and what we would call a single incident trauma, a tornado or a fire or an accident or, something like that versus having now what we call developmental trauma. What's the impact of growing up with trauma after trauma after trauma, and what does that do on how your brain is formed and what happens with all of that communication within your body?
Right.
That understanding those differences then helps us to be able to come up with treatments that are kind of tailored to those differences in a helpful way. Yeah. And we get to see people get better.
That's cool.
Which is good.
And you've seen that since 2000. So you've seen things develop and unfold.
Yeah. I mean, we were on the, it kind of was in terms of what we know about the brain and all, and neurobiology and all of that. When I was in grad school, it was kind of comparing it to before they went to the moon. And what we knew about space.
Interesting.
And then what all that we know about space now.
Yeah.
That field just advanced and exploded between, over the past 25 years.
I don't know anything about space. So.
Oh. Well, see, we went down to the Space Center in Alabama when we lived there.
Right.
So for a season, I was going to be an astronaut.
You could have been.
I know.
Could have done it.
I know. Yep. So anyway.
The only thing I know about space is they say that the edge of space is expanding. And every time they say that, I was like, I think, I wish you would stop saying that because that hurts my head. That freaks me out. Like, to where? Where is it expanding
it's
to?
Just continuing.
The galaxy.
Yeah.
Where? There's got to be a container. That freaks me out. Like Horton Hears a Who. Like where these little things and what's on the edge. It goes on and on.
Yeah. I think that is like so cool and mind blowing to think about how
it is.
Creation is like it was spoken and complete and yet continues to grow and advance and get better. Like, I mean, that should be in your book. Because truly, no, the second.
The second one. Okay.
The sequel.
Oh, the sequel. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So.
Okay. So what else? What else is better than ever? So professionally, things are better than ever. What's better?
Professionally, things are better than ever.
Hey, do you have Life 360?
I do. That's better than ever.
It's creepy, but it's awesome because you're awesome. They're just left here and they're right here. Yeah.
You know what? I think my kids use it finding
you
more
that's
than
funny.
I use it finding
I think that's right.
them.
Yep.
They were like, no, we don't want to do this. And then they got it and they're like, here's a true story. So I go for a walk and especially like in the summer, I'm like, okay, I'm going for a walk. While I'm gone, I want you to do this and this and this. And
they're tracking
They track me on
they know
360.
how long.
They know how long it takes me to get from this point or this point. So they do not get up and start doing the thing until I am at this point.
That's funny.
And I'm like, I don't care as long as it's done when I get home.
That's right.
But that means I could add like 6 more things to your list because now I know you're not doing anything until I'm 15 minutes from the house.
Or change it up and do
I know.
Come back by the house and they go, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But think about when we were kids, it was like you didn't know until you heard the garage door going up and then you better scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like you start driving and you just go. You're just like, hey, I'm going to go. I'll be back at 11.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So that's better than ever. What else is better than ever?
What else is better
Photos
than ever?
are better than ever.
Photos are better than ever. Yeah. I think our understanding about, and I guess this goes to professional, but it also to me is personal, like our understanding about attachment, about regulation, like how do we stay calm and all of that is better. We have better understanding of what's going on with all of that and like why we need to work on all of that. So I think that's better than ever. I'm trying to think of things that I do, Joseph. Cooking is better than ever.
You can just look up a recipe. Boom. No big deal. So quick.
And you can do it. Plus all of the cool things like I have a double oven. I can cook all the time if I want to.
Yeah. I have a double oven. It's amazing. I
know. You benefit from that.
I know. I really do. I know.
So
it's amazing.
Yeah. We have so many good advancements in things. Our ability to stay connected to people who aren't here, like family that lives far away.
Yeah.
That's better. I don't know.
You talk to your parents? Like how often you talk to your parents? You're close to your parents, right?
I am close to my parents. My dad doesn't like to talk on the phone.
That's not surprising. Okay.
He only answers the phone if my mom's gone and he's got caller ID. So if it's me or my sister,
he'll
pick it up and he'll talk to us.
He won't screen you. He's like, no,
he'll pick it up.
Okay.
But I'm like, if he picks it up, then I know my mom's gone.
Okay.
Right. So, but my mom and my sister and I are on a group thread on a text. Yeah. Once we got my mom on a smartphone, that's better than ever.
Yeah.
Because she was texting like with the keys and so she wouldn't really text, so anyway, so we have a text thread and I would say it's mostly daily.
Yeah.
It's
so easy and it's free
every single day.
Yeah.
But
and it's prepaid. It's not quite free.
Right.
But
it's not free, but it's prepaid. So because she doesn't have an Apple, so we can't iMessage with her.
Those people in the group chat are the worst. And it
I know.
changes to green, and it
It's
won't
green
do
and
the tap backs and all that stuff. It won't do the thumbs
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we communicate most days,
Yeah.
you know, and honestly, and again, this people may say, well, that's not as good, but I think it is in the pace of life that we're in right now, in terms of like the kids stuff and working and my stuff and all, you know, all of that. I don't think that we would have time. We would probably not make time to have a phone call on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it would maybe be a couple times a week, maybe.
Right.
You know, and we do talk on the phone now, but we can communicate back and forth with each other throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you
awesome.
know?
Yep. It's real quick. It's easy.
And we do. And that's a cool thing. I think it's also cool to text your kids throughout the day.
I love that.
Me too.
Love that.
Me too.
My middle schoolers, the middle schoolers aren't supposed to have
No,
the phone.
I know. Yeah. My middle schooler actually, she doesn't have a phone yet.
She doesn't.
She doesn't have. She has one that's just
that's
connected
at
home.
Ours too. Yeah. Ours too.
Yeah.
But does she take it to school?
No. She can't use anything on it at school.
Not Wi-Fi?
Oh yeah, but the school Wi-Fi is not very good.
Well, it's been a huge controversy this whole year because they're like they wanted to use their phones and they're not supposed to use their phones. And
not in middle school's a no phone zone now.
Now, yep.
But but my high schooler.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah,
and
all day. Yep.
It's throughout the day. Yeah, but I
love that.
It got like the attachment and the connection. I talk to her too. I mean, when I see her, when she gets home, we talk. We don't. It's not. I do not put up with somebody sitting, you know, in their room texting me.
I don't like.
I'm
that.
like,
no,
get out.
Yep.
Come on,
Yep.
you know. But it's like you can say, "I'm thinking about you," or you know they're having a test. How did it go?
Yeah.
You know, so all
definitely.
day long, there's this connection.
Definitely. All right. Well, let's transition to.
Okay.
What's a book? What's a book that shaped you? What's a book that everybody should read? Not a fancy attachment like the therapy book, but
not a therapy book.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's that? If there's a therapy book that's accessible to the public, maybe. But
yeah. Okay, so I thought about this question.
Yeah,
I love reading, and so I would have to like narrow it down to topics. But if a book, and I thought about this today because I pulled it off my shelf twice.
Yeah.
A book that I recommend a lot to parents, but also I think it's a great book for all of us, is The Whole Brain Child by Dan Siegel and Tina Bryson.
Okay, and it's good.
It's good.
So
and it's totally accessible. You should read it.
Right.
And I mean, it even has like cartoon, it has drawings in it.
It's accessible to even a moron like me. That's right. It has pictures in it, Joe.
I mean, but
you can do this.
It's about kids, but it's about all of us.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the chapter, it's like, okay, and what does this mean for adults? And then the pictures in there are like, okay, now I can teach this. I can remember with my really hyper dysregulated firstborn child. And, you know, I can remember reading that when she was about 3 or 4, and I could say, hey, this is what's going on. And it gave us common language to be able to talk about it that wasn't pathologizing in any way, you know?
Don't they say that if this is too, I've just heard this, maybe it's anecdotally, but that the indicator of whether or not a child will have mental health issues is if the parent has like they'll pass it down or like reflect that or something.
There's definitely
attach.
It depends on the issue, but there's definitely a hereditary piece to mental illness for sure.
Well, not even hereditary, but just the fact that you're relating to your parent who has anger issues or something.
Absolutely.
Not that I don't have anger issues, but you know, if a parent did.
Yeah, there's definitely an impact.
I'm just kidding. I do have anger issues sometimes. But yes, there is an impact. Yes.
Everyone has anger issues at some point.
Okay.
Right. So you said not a therapy book?
Well, no, that's good. That's good to know. But what comes to mind? What's a book everybody should read?
Oh, good grief.
You've read too many, I guess.
I don't know. I like a story. I love The Secret Garden.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like for a story.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
fiction.
one.
Yeah.
A little fiction. I really read a whole lot of nonfiction.
Yeah.
As well. So, I mean, you'd have to tell me what topic you want. And then I
don't know.
say,
this you're the talent.
Good.
I don't know.
I'm not the talent.
You're the talent.
You know?
All right.
So.
All right.
Anyway, I gave you a good one.
No, that's great.
That's
great.
accessible,
That's
totally accessible.
That's excellent. What's a candy? What's your favorite candy?
Oh, anything dark chocolate or gummy bears.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
You make famous Rice Krispie treats.
Oh yeah,
it's famous in my house at least.
Yeah,
yep.
I love Rice Krispie treats.
Yep. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's better than ever.
How many minutes did we come up with?
We're at 58 minutes. That's perfect.
That's a long time, so you can edit out all the junk.
There's no junk. This is perfect. Well, thanks for being on the podcast.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming by.
This is fun.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
If you liked ideas like these, check out my book, Like a King, Compare Yourself into Happiness, where I compare our lives to the kings of the past, wherever books are sold. Just kidding. It's only on Amazon.